The New York Islanders get a little more good news as Anthony Duclair is expected back in the lineup tonight against Carolina. We'll talk about what that means, how they'll fit him onto the roster, and maybe how to fix the power play a little bit. All that and more on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
Your Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to the Tuesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. The college football playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. The college football playoff is presented by Allstate, and it begins with 4 first-round games on December 20th and 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and Max. So the New York Islanders, who just got Matthew Barzal and Adam Pelech back in the lineup Saturday when they played the Chicago Blackhawks, they are expected to get a little more good news before tonight's game, as the Islanders are expected to activate Anthony Duclair off the LTIR and to have him available in the lineup when they take on the Carolina Hurricanes tonight in Raleigh. And I have to say, this is going to be a good addition. It's tough to comprehend that right now, with 50 games left in the season, the Islanders have played 32 games. Anthony Duclair, the big free agent acquisition of the offseason, has played in exactly 5 of them. He has 2 goals and 3 points in those 5 games. But you know, you got to say that it is way too small of a sample size to have any kind of, indication of what we should expect from Anthony Duclair with the Islanders. Now, look, we know what Anthony Duclair's career has been like. I have liked the work ethic we saw from him during training camp and since he joined the Islanders organization, the fact that he was working with Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal at different times during the offseason to try to develop chemistry even ahead of training camp. To me, that was encouraging, and I am hopeful that the addition of Anthony Duclair will at least give the Islanders a little bit more offensive juice, which we all know this team desperately needs, and maybe even a little more depth up and down the lineup as far as the offense goes. So reasons for hope. Let's at least put it that way. But now the Islanders do also still have to figure out how to fit Anthony Duclair back under the salary cap, because Duclair has a $3.5 million cap hit. He's on LTIR, which means that during the time that he has been out of the lineup and on LTIR, his salary kind of didn't count against the cap. So the Islanders need to create $3.39 million. And they also need to open up a roster spot in order to fit Duclair on the team. Now, these two things may or may not be directly related. You have an easy way to fill the cap space because right now you have $4 million of injured players who you could probably stash on LTIR retroactive to the time they were hurt. And that's Mike Riley, who has a $1.25 million cap hit, who, by the way, has been skating, which is in and of itself pretty amazing to hear. I mean, nobody really expected to see Mike Riley on the ice on Saturday, working, with Dennis Seidenberg, and that was very much encouraging. He was wearing a regular practice jersey. Again, no timetable yet for Mike Riley's return, but the fact that here we are, not even 2 full months after he has heart surgery, and he's at least on the ice. We may not see Mike Riley again for the rest of this season, but the fact that he's starting to work on the ice even a little bit is encouraging. So get well soon, Mike Riley, and hopefully his road to a full and complete recovery will be a smooth one. But you could put Riley on the LTIR, and then the other easy way to do it is to retroactively place Semyon Varlamov, who has a $2.75 million cap hit, onto the LTIR. You're creating $4 million right there, which is more than the 3.4 almost that you need to create. And voila, that's done. But what it doesn't do at this point is get you a roster spot. So again, you've got options. You can waive Hudson Fasching, who a lot of people expected would have been waived when Matthew Barzal and Adam Pelech were activated and returning from IR and LTIR. They did not do that. And again, Fasching played and survived that roster move. And then the other move, possibly, is to once again send Pierre Engvall down to Bridgeport, because, again, Engvall still not delivering on a consistent basis the kind of hockey that Patrick Waugh wants to see from him. And okay, Engvall wasn't bad against Chicago on Saturday. But, in 21 games this year, Engvall has 7 points. That puts him on a pace, roughly, for 26, 27 points if he played all 82 games, maybe 10, 11 goals. The problem with Engvall is his lack of consistency. He has more upside than Hudson Fasching offensively, but if he doesn't play the way Patrick Waugh wants him to play, his value for the team just goes down substantially. And Engvall is not a typical fourth line player. When you talk about the style that he plays, the fourth line is really not where he belongs. And, here he played on the third line on Saturday against Chicago with Kyle McLean and Simon Holmstrom. And Holmstrom had a really good game, and Engvall played fine. But again, the fact that at most he gives you 2, 3 really, good games where he does the things, going to the net and shooting the puck and just doing those little things that Pierre Engvall has to do to get into Patrick Waugh's good graces. The fact that he'll do that for 2 or 3 games and then back to the invisible man routine doesn't bode well. And Engvall just isn't a good fit, I don't think, on the fourth line. If Matt Martin and either Kyle McLean or Casey Cizikas are, 2/3 of that bottom line, I don't see Engvall fitting into that as well as Fasching or Cizikas. And it just, I think Engvall tends to frustrate Patrick Waugh. So I think they will send Pierre Engvall back down to Bridgeport. Whether or not that ultimately is what happens remains to be seen. Keep your eyes out on X or Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days. As soon as I hear something official, I will tweet it out and let everybody know. But got to make a move. But getting Anthony Duclair back, I think, is going to be good for Matthew Barzal, good for Bo Horvat when Horvat returns. Now, no word yet on Horvat and his availability for tonight. We'll know more after the Tuesday morning skate. But my estimation and what I've heard is that Horvat is unlikely, not ruled out, but unlikely to play tonight against the Hurricanes. So we'll have to see how that goes. But more scoring, more depth, and some badly needed speed in this lineup. And I think the fact that Duclair has that speed makes Engvall even a little more expendable. But again, we have to see how it all plays out. So we'll let you know as soon as we know. But Anthony Duclair going to be back, and that will leave Mike Riley as the only player out of the lineup out of the 5 walking wounded that the Islanders dealt with. Remember that Alexander Romanov was also injured initially. So you had those 5 guys all out of the lineup. Now, all of them, with the exception of Riley, expected to be back by tonight. We have got a lot more to discuss on today's show. How do you fix the power play? And we'll talk a little bit more about that and what this Islanders power play is and is not doing. We'll preview tonight's game against the Carolina Hurricanes. And for our Islanders birthday of the day, we have a forward who was with the Islanders for the 2014-2015 season, also played for the Lightning, the Senators, the Sabres. Let's see if you can guess who that is. We've got that and a whole lot more still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Bilt Rewards. If you're a renter, listen up. This is a total game changer. Thanks to Bilt, you can now earn points on rent payments just like you do with groceries or travel. Paying rent now comes with serious perks, and it's completely free to join. Earn valuable Bilt points on your rent and everyday spending at no extra cost, and you can redeem points for flights, hotel stays, even future rent payments. With over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels in their program, the possibilities are endless, and you can access unique experiences that are exclusive to Bilt members. I love using Bilt points for travel, and Bilt makes it so easy to turn rent into rewards. If you're already paying rent, why not make it work for you? Start earning points on rent that you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/LockedOnNHL. That's joinbuilt.com, BILT, /LockedOnNHL. Make sure to use our link so they know we sent you. Don't wait. Start earning rewards today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Select Quote, the World Series, the Super Bowl, the Olympics, the Stanley Cup. The world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing: teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. Select Quote's licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. Select Quote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. If you're in good health, they work with carriers that can get you same-day coverage for up to $5 million, no medical exam needed. And these policies are more affordable than you think. You can get coverage for up to $1 million in as little as $20 a month. Select Quote, they shop, you save. So get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/LockedOnNHL. Go to selectquote.com/LockedOnNHL today to get started. That's selectquote.com/LockedOnNHL. So the power play. Look, special teams right now, whatever the Islanders have been doing, it ain't working. Right now, the power play is dead last in the NHL, 12.2% success rate. And to just sort of put that into perspective, for the entire season, the New York Islanders have 11 power play goals. Anders Lee leads the team with 3. Kyle Palmieri has 2. And then you have 6 players with 1 power play goal each. Now, one of those is Anthony Duclair. And hopefully, the addition of Anthony Duclair will give the power play another weapon, another guy who has experience playing with the man advantage, taking advantage of the extra time and space that a power play provides. And maybe, just maybe, Anthony Duclair can be the catalyst for some kind of improvement on the Islanders' power play. But let's face it, it's going to take more than just Anthony Duclair to get the Islanders' power play back on track. And, you know, right now, the Islanders, they're 11 for 90 on the power play all season. And, John McClain, the assistant coach, Kyle McClain's dad, he is in his 3rd season running the Islanders power play. And he has struggled. They were ranked 30th in McClain's first year with the team. Last year, they actually did improve. They were 19th, so a little below average, but they did score on a little more than 20% of their power play opportunities. And now, this year, they are, again, dead last. This year, the Islanders have scored more than 1 power play goal in a game once. And in 22 of the 32 games that they've played, they have been blanked on the power play. It is not going to be better if they can't change their approach. And how important has it been? Well, when the Islanders score on the power play this year, they're 8-3. When they don't score a power play goal in a game this year, they are 4-12-4, or 4-16 overall. So they have got to be better. And look, I can tell you some of the elements that a successful power play needs to have that this Islanders team just doesn't do. And the one thing you want to do as an overall philosophy on the power play is to tire out the penalty killers, make them move, and get them out of position. If they chase you, if they have to go into the corner when you're in the corner, if they have to go behind the goal, if two, and Islander fans, you know how many times we've seen the Islanders do this. If 2 defensemen go after the same guy with the puck, someone else is going to be wide open. Maybe even 2 players, if you can get 2 guys to chase one, should be wide open. So, number 1, move the puck. Move it quickly, move it with purpose, make the penalty killers chase. Number 2, shoot the puck. Do not let the good get in the way. Do not let the perfect get in the way of the good. If you've got a quality shooting opportunity, do not pass up that opportunity for the chance to make the perfect backdoor pass to set up the ideal play. Yeah, you'll hit it once in a while, and it'll make the highlight reel, and that's good. but you will also miss it more often than not. And when you're talking about an Islanders team that has struggled to score and doesn't shoot enough to begin with, put pucks on the net and then go to those dirty areas. Get Anders Lee in front of the goal, screening. Maxim Siplikov, screening. Bo Horvat at the bumper. Kyle Palmieri by the circle to take shots. Brock Nelson to take his one-timers. All of these things have to be done. You've got to screen the goalie, get deflections, make plays that make life more difficult for goalies and other things that you need to do, as I described about puck movement, to make things more difficult for penalty killers. Right now, the Islanders are consistently doing neither, and it's time that that changed. This team needs to be smarter, and when you're struggling at something, the old adage in sports is keep it simple. The KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid. The Islanders need to go do the KISS thing. They need to keep it simple. Go back to Power Play 101, the stuff you learned in Pee-wees and juniors and all that. Go back to that and just keep it simple and execute as best you can. Getting Duclair back should help, but I got to say this, and I never like to call for people's jobs, but if we don't see some improvement, I can't imagine John McClain coming back next year after, 2 of his 3 years running the power play. They are at or very close to the bottom of the league. I just don't see it. All right, more to get to on today's show. The Islanders back in action tonight in Raleigh against the Hurricanes. That's an ESPN Plus game, by the way. We'll have a full preview of that game, plus our Islanders birthday of the day. All that still to come on today's Locked On Islanders podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by your friends at FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you could check out the latest stats, view live, play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Islander fans, check out the odds and use your knowledge of hockey and the Islanders to make some exciting bets on FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your competition with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Islanders, Hurricanes, 7:30 Eastern Time on ESPN Plus. And it's the only game the Islanders actually have this week until Saturday. So the schedule a little lighter this week and next week. This week, only 2 games, tonight and Saturday. And next week, obviously, you have Monday and then the holiday break. So that'll be a little bit of a breather for this team in that sense, and especially for Ilya Sorokin, who still, I think, needs a day off. They should have played Hogberg in one of the 2 games against Chicago because now you have tougher competition with Carolina and Toronto in back-to-back games. So, look, this is a well-balanced team. This is a team that is, as of right now, in 3rd place in the Metropolitan Division, but they, they're playing some pretty good hockey at 19-10-1. So They are 8 points ahead of the Islanders with 2 games in hand on the Islanders. And, Carolina, 5th in the league in goals scored, 9th in goals against. You're in the top 10 in both categories. The power play is 5th in the league. The penalty kill is 3rd in the league. Special teams will hurt the Islanders badly, especially if they are in the box. They cannot do it. And right now, think about this. We talked in the last segment that the Islanders have, as a team, 11 power play goals this year in 32 games. Well, right now, the Carolina Hurricanes, between Martin Necas and Andrei Svechnikov, each of them have 7 power play goals. So the 2 highest Hurricanes for power play goals have 3 more power play goals than the entire Islanders team in 2 fewer games. Necas right now leading the team with 14 goals. Jack Roslovic has 13. Necas also has 30 assists and 44 points. Both of those categories lead the team as well. Sebastian Aho, not the former Islander, he has 31 points. That places him next on the team. And, this is a team that is a little banged up in goal. Frederik Andersen still out, but they are dangerous. Aho, Eric Robinson, and Seth Jarvis are the top line with Jesperi Kotkaniemi, Svechnikov, and Necas is the second line. Jordan Staal centers the third line with William Carrier and Jordan Martinook flanking him. And then Tyson Jost is the pivot on the fourth line with Roslovic and Jackson Blake on either side of him. Jacob Slavin and Brent Burns make a very dangerous and effective top defense pair. Dmitry Orlov and Jalen Chatfield are the middle pair, and Shane Gostisbehere and Sean Walker are the third pair. Peter Kochetkov and Dustin Tokarski are the goalies. Jesper Fast on IR. Frederik Andersen, the goalie, as I mentioned, out. Jack Drury listed as day-to-day. We're probably going to see Kochetkov. He is 12-5-0 with a .261 goals against average and an .895 save percentage, but we'll see whether or not they go back with Tokarski, who played really well in the win against the Columbus Blue Jackets on Sunday. So we'll see how it all plays out. Islanders have to stay out of the box. They want to play this game 5-on-5 as much as humanly possible. And, they cannot retreat too quickly in their own zone. You give this Carolina Hurricanes team time and space to maneuver, and they will hurt you. We'll see. Hopefully the Islanders can bounce back after 2 disappointing performances against the Blackhawks, one of which they at least managed to hold on and win. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And we got to go back a few days to December 14th, which was the 35th birthday of former Islanders center Corey Conacher. The Canisius College alum made his NHL debut with the Lightning in 2012-2013. Conacher, not a big guy at 5'8", $185, and that sort of held him back. He played for Tampa, Ottawa, Buffalo, and then joined the Islanders for the 2014-2015 season. Split time between the minor leagues, Bridgeport and Utica, and the Island. Played 15 games for the Islanders, had a goal, 3 points, and 14 penalty minutes. Later played for the Lightning a second time before heading over to Europe. He was active as recently as last year, playing for the Chicago Wolves of the AHL. Corey Conacher, 193 career NHL games, 28 goals, 75 points, 118 penalty minutes. Add 3 goals in 10 playoff games, none of those as a member of the Islanders. His most memorable game as an Islander, October 11th, 2014, Islanders hosting the Carolina Hurricanes, of all teams, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. And with the game tied 1-1 late in the first period, our Islanders' birthday of the day, Corey Conacher pots his first goal as an Islander. John Tavares and Kyle Oposo with the assist. That gave the Islanders a 2-1 lead. The Islanders end up winning the game by a final score of 4-3. Conacher had the goal. He had 2 shots on goal and played a hair under 16 minutes in this one. Chad Johnson, 21 saves to earn the win for the Islanders, who managed to put 4 pucks behind Anton Khudobin of the Carolina Hurricanes. So Corey Conacher, a little guy who gave big effort, he is our Islanders' birthday of the day. I want to thank everyone who makes Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Everydayers, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll have our key takeaways from tonight's game against Carolina, the latest injury updates, and our weekly farm report on all things Bridgeport Islanders. So make sure you join us for that. If you have a question, a comment, maybe a topic you'd like us to discuss on a future episode, email us at lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever's on your mind. And I will be answering some mailbox questions on Thursday's show. I already have a couple, but please, if you have some more, get them in. You can follow the show on X at Locked On Isles, and you can follow me, Gil Martin, on X at Ice Wars, NYR, VSNYI. We'll keep you up to date on all things Islanders all year long, and I am live tweeting during nearly every Islanders home and road game. So join me for some instant insight and analysis. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and of course, let's go Islanders.